Hello and welcome to the 19th episode of This Week in Mappercraft. This past week was May 3rd to May 9th, and we'll be covering the years of 2015, 2016, 2017, 2019, 2021, and 2022. As always, all information here can be found on the Mappercraft wiki, which is linked in the description, along with the server itself. Let's get into the years. A lot of different years had events this week. First up, in 2015, the server was running the first Earth World, hosted by Monsoon Jr. In 2016, the server was running Pangaea World Revived and Earth World 4, both hosted by Monsoon Jr. In 2017, the server was running Earth World 6, hosted by Xenodyne. In 2019, the server was running Earth World 7, also hosted by Xenodyne. In 2021, the server was running VMJ World, hosted by Jenny. And in 2022, the server was running Earth World Redux, hosted by Damani at the time. Lots of Earth World stuff this week. And first up, we have 4 events from May 3rd to the 9th of 2015 during Earth World 1. On the 3rd, Aurania grew into an empire, given that, according to the quote, they had colonies in Australia, Asia, and North America. So they were doing pretty well. On the same day, the Bananursa Praetoria War occurred. It began after a mild insult was apparently hurled at Praetoria by one of the Bananursa members, which Praetoria took as a diplomatic issue and a potential reason for war. When they refused to apologize, the Praetorian army invaded. According to the quote, the victory was swift and all-encompassing, with nearly 80 casualties to the Praetorians 1-2. Bananursa was annexed into the Breton cohort, which may have been a bad idea, as the day later, on the 4th of May, 2015, the Breton revolt kicked off. It was led by Happy Dance, a formerly loyal member of Praetoria, who betrayed the leadership in favor of the newly annexed Bananurusians. According to the quote, Praetoria refused to recognize their independence and tried to crush the revolt, which would continue for almost about 2 weeks. It was a pretty long one. However, things weren't all bad for Praetoria, as on the 5th of May 2015, Multi and General Gems joined the nation. Surely 2 great players who would help them take over the world, I guess. Here's a quote for that. Next up, we have only a single event for Pangaea World Revived from May 3rd to the 6th, 2016, as this was when, on the 6th, the world ended. Not really surprising, as it was really slowing down last week, but it does let us get right into the next world, which was Earth World 4, beginning on May 7th, 2016. According to the quote, players quickly moved to claim old cities from the previous iterations of the map. The beginning of the world also marked the start of the medieval start era, which apparently was quite chaotic, according to this quote, which says that the era was characterized by terror and turmoil. Not sure why it was called medieval, though. I don't really get that. Also, to mark the beginning of the world, several nations were reformed or reformed. According to the quote, this included successors to Praetoria, Arabia, and Lepenia, as well as some other new nations. Finally, getting into the actual disputes in 2016, on the 9th of May, the Croatia dispute began when Armia, the precursor to Araga, tried to claim Croatia, but was blocked by Multi claiming the territory for Praetors, the successor to Praetoria, who had owned the area in a previous world. According to the quote, the issue was further complicated by Tomad claiming Germany, including the city of Hamburg, which was owned by Pezminer. When Lepenia backed Pezminer, Tomad backed down, sort of ending the dispute. But now we have 4 more events from May 9th, 2016, a very eventful day in Earthworld 4. First, Praetors renamed to Starim, or Starmiglia. Starimglia. Here's the quote for that. Starim would become one of the most relevant nations going forward, although the Praetorian faction had previously been very impactful to the world, so this was more just a name change. Also on the 9th, the Doha War occurred, when TL looted Soaring Hawk, one of the members of Starim. FedEx led an army into Arabia to prosecute TL, specifically him, not the whole nation. The Arabian army did attempt to rescue TL, but according to the quote, his small town was ruined and he surrendered. Following this, and possibly related, on the same day, the Battle of Livonis occurred when several random players were teleported into the city accidentally. It doesn't say who they were or what they wanted, but according to the quote, FedEx, Multi, and Batran occupied the city to quell this skirmish. And finally, for our final event for this week from 2016, on the 9th of May, the Tehran dispute occurred when both Zaina and Arabia claimed Persia. According to the quote, Zaina offered payment for the territory, but Arabia refused, and eventually the nation renounced their claims to the area, leaving it in the firm hands of Arabia. Here we have a handful of events from May 7th to the 9th of 2017 during Earthworld 6, the first of which was the world opening on May 7th, 2017. According to the quote, there were some technical difficulties and staff had to teleport everyone to Europe to get the world started. With the world start, the post-war era began, following off from a tumultuous period in Earthworld 5. According to the quote, the world was in sort of a competitive stalemate, with no nations clearly rising above the rest to dominate. And obviously, with the beginning of the new world, we also get many nations from Earthworld 5 are being refounded. According to the quote, this included Starum, the PAU, Araga, Imperia, the Kingdom of Maple, and the Garahensi Caliphate. The only major event not related to the world opening was on the 7th of May when the Third Treaty of Helsinki was ratified, officially normalizing relations between Araga and Starum. According to the quote, they became allies again. Starum gained some of their resources, or some resources that they had been promised, and all previous treaties were nullified in favor of this new treaty, really clearing up their relationship. Next up, we have one technical event from May 3rd to the 9th of 2019 during Earthworld 7. This was on the 9th when the PAU-Aragon Cold War began. As these were the only two remaining factions in the world, this was essentially a worldwide Cold War, which had begun after Araga annexed Starum and Imperia, and then proceeded to invade France. The PAU responded quickly by declaring all of the American continents their territory, as Araga had claimed all of the other continents. This kicked off the Cold War, as Araga claimed the territories of La Plata and Iroth had become theirs after annexing Starum. The PAU countered with a claim that Iroth had actually been annexed by the PAU during Earthworld 6. According to the quote, diplomatic discussions began with Scully, FedEx, Batran, Tomad, and Zach representing Araga versus Thunder, Top, Sikorsky, and the new president Lucy representing the PAU. Discussions were not particularly fruitful, and this state of constant fear would greatly decrease activity on the server, leading to the eventual end of Earthworld 7 and the Earthworld series as a whole. There's not really any more information from this world after this because both sides were just kind of not playing a lot because they were worried about getting declared upon. And now we have 4 events from this week in 2021 during VMJ World. First, on the 3rd of May 2021, the nation of Poggersland attempted to declare war on Zhongguo. However, according to the quote, the nation was found to be full of alt accounts of permabanned players, so the war was declared invalid and completely rolled back. Following this, on the 4th, it was announced that the longest-running Mappercraft world would be ending this week. Here's the quote on that. Following that, on the 7th, the world file was retrieved, and the world went into a free-for-all hardcore mode, as seen in the quote here. And then, finally, 2 days later, on the 9th of May 2021, VMJ World officially ended. Here's the short quote of that. Definitely one of the most impactful worlds, if not the most impactful. The current world on the server is a new iteration of this map, kind of picking up where it left off. Not everybody is back, but, kind of picking it up with Zhongguo and all the other nations. So if you're interested in that, you should definitely go check it out. It's the world we're running right now. And also, another new world began this week in 2022. On May 7th, Earthworld Redux was announced, a 1:750 scale map of the Earth. According to the quote, Dimani was announced as the host. She was a staff member who had been promoted at the end of 2021, and although well respected amongst the staff team, was definitely a little strange to say the least. I wasn't really around during this time, so I don't really have any input into this decision, but I don't know if I would have let Dimani host the server. In addition to the world announcement, land claims was also opened on the 7th before the actual world opened. And here's the quote for that. At least 34 nations are listed as being formed on that day, so that's pretty good. The next day, the 8th of May, 2022, the world would officially open. According to the quote, over 60 players logged on at once, which I think still stands as our highest simultaneous player count record. Also, on the 8th, apparently, Holland and Denmark built good relations, as seen in this quote, which states that their respective leaders, Java C and Donk BD, met. It'll be interesting to see what else happens in this world, as I didn't play on it, so I kind of have a not unbiased, but not related view. Like, I wasn't there. But this marks the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and check out the server at the link in the description. As always, if you have any additional information about any of these events, leave a comment down below or go ahead and add it to the Mappercraft wiki. See you next week from May 10th to the 16th.